In the meantime, let's take the comments of Mr. Braimah, who is the publisher of an editor-in-chief of Niger Times and is also a public commentator. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mr. Braimah.
Yeah, thank you. How are you today?
Very good, and I really wish we'd be able to say the same for our efforts of sustaining political and democratic processes in Osun State at this time. What are your thoughts? All the rhetorics we're having, not just from one person, but from quite a few others. What are your thoughts on what's going on right now in Osun State?
I ought to be very honest with you. This is war, not an election in Osun State. Yes, Mark, I can see you. I'm speaking right now with Ayo. So basically, the situation in Osun State is deeply troubling. I am worried personally, in spite of the assurances of the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that people should go out to vote without any fear. The whole of Osun State has been heavily militarized, over 15,000 military security personnel, plus civil defense. What is this all about? Is it just about desperation to grab power, or is it about serving the Osun State people? You know, as I said, I'm worried, and I think the stories from Osun State, they are very unhelpful in terms of intimidation, voter intimidation, in terms of turning Osun State into a killing field. A lot of people have died just because of one election, an off-cycle election. Maybe, as I've always noted in the past, politicians really don't care about us. They don't. That is the truth. They are more interested in grabbing power. I mean, this is without prejudice to the party that is there now, and the governor, Adeola Adeleke. All the parties are guilty. So the desperation is what bothers me, instead of focus, on serving the people. Now, I can understand the sentiment, because historically, what happened in 2022 and 4 years earlier just indicates that there is a serious contest for power. And the race, I must confess, will be very close. If we look at 2018 and 2022, it will be very, very close. So, and the major contenders obviously are Ademola Adeleke of the Accord Party and Oyebamiji of the APC, the All Progressive Congress. So, and understanding the party at the center, the APC, I'm sure they want to also add Osun State, into their collection of over 30 APC governors. So it's understandable why there's so much tension, but why should people die just because of one election in one state? And Osun State, 30 local government areas and about over 3,700 polling units. Let us have peace. Let us have a credible election. INEC has a major role to play. The security agency, the same thing. And we just hope that tomorrow we'll have a peaceful, free, fair, and credible election.
For the same, because one of the things that have happened over time, Mr. Braimah, you might also want to speak to that, is that many times when an off-cycle election is coming, there's a lot of noise, a lot of rhetorics we're having now, but hardly do we hear of people dying and the kind of coarse language that is coming all the way from Osun State, simply because of, as you said, of an election. If it is not war, then why is all this happening? Let me quickly check, since you saw Markwe the other time, if Markwe is able to hear us now and if the audio from her end is better. Hello, Markwe. Oh, okay, I understand that she may not be able to hear me right now. But so we'll still go back to Kayla in a moment to speak with her a little further. But so, Mr. Braimah, what else then needs to be done? We are 24 hours or less away from the kickoff of the elections in Osun State, and all the things that need to be done has been done as at now. And if you would offer a counsel, to whom would you be speaking right now? Campaigns are over. The electoral process is pretty much underway. People are expected to go out and vote, and unfortunately, over time, we hardly ever had 35% or up to 35% of voter turnout in Osun State out of the 2.3 million voters that are there. What are the things that you think need to be done now to encourage more people to come out to vote? Yes, we know it's a global phenomenon. People don't usually come out to vote up to so significant a percentage. But we can do better, can't we?
But there's so much fear already. Ayo, if you can hear me, there's so much intimidation. I will not be surprised if there's voter apathy. The people want to come out to vote. And I think the Osun people should be allowed to decide who their next governor will be. And their votes should count. Okay, you're talking about the critical stakeholders. At this time, the politicians are number one for me. Secondly, INEC. Thirdly, the security forces. And then, more importantly, and I'll place that at the bottom of the pyramid, the voters. You know, let these four quadrants come together in a mix that will promote a very transparent election. Everybody is a key stakeholder. You know, all the participants, those that will announce the results, collate and announce the result, whether from the ward level to the local government level to the state level. There should be no manipulation of any kind. I think we've gone past that stage. The desperation to win is a major problem, not only with this election in Osun State. I think it's just a general disease with our politicians where they are so desperate to win elections. And it will be really unhelpful. The violence, talking about violence and people dying, that should have no place in our democracy. As Kela was saying earlier, we should be celebrating democracy. Since 1999, this is now 27 years or thereabout, we should celebrate democracy. But progressively, it's becoming violence prone. And then we have merchants of violence, those promoting hate speech, those who are saying people must be killed because of election, and then nothing is happening to them. They should be cooling their feet right now, you know, with the security agencies. I specifically, Senator Francis Fadahunsi, who said he was misinterpreted. I don't know why he has not been picked up. But if it were to be some other civil rights activist who said exactly the same thing, they would have been arrested by now and, you know, put in detention. So clearly, a situation where you have some people who are above the law and they are, you know, treated with kid gloves, just a slap on the wrist, it will not help our democracy or political culture. We are all equal before the law. So when people say you must kill others because of election, they should be arrested and prosecuted. And that's why I'm happy with the statement by Tony Ojukwu, you know, Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission yesterday. The intervention he has made, you know, petitioning the National Security Advisor, the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, the DSS, and I think the Inspector General of Police, saying there must be serious attention paid to this reckless statement by a serving senator from Osun State. I mean, we should not sweep this under the carpet. If we do not set examples, then these things will just keep coming and going. Oh, but 30 people or more have died in Osun State because of what? Because of one election. I think it's totally unacceptable, and for me, people should not die for democracy. And that's why the words of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, you know, continue to ring that the life of any Nigerian is not worth, you know, fighting for any political office. Why should people die because you want to win an election?
I'm sure that Kela has questions for you as well, and she also has issues to raise with Mawkwe. Go ahead, Kela.
Oh yeah, because Mawkwe has been with us throughout the show. Mawkwe, can you hear me now? And you know we yes. So we need to get, because you see the conversation around the hotspots, very very important one as we go into this election in the next few hours. So go ahead, Mawkwe, and tell us what it is your guest is trying to express to us this morning. Well, we lost that connection. So let me go to Mr. Braimah then. Sorry about that. Mr. Braimah, so, you know, listening to the sentiments that you've been sharing since we got to you this morning, at some point, it didn't feel like it was worth it anymore. If 29 people have died, how do you celebrate? You do a Thanksgiving service after 29 people have died. So talk to us about our political class, because this is an issue and basically a signpost for what it is that we're going to be seeing come 2027. Is this the kind of violence we'll be expecting across the country during the presidential election?
Kayla, this is the last off-cycle election, and the central theme is desperation to grab power, whether at the local government level, at the state level, even in Abuja. So, but politicians should just respect the fact that the voters ultimately they have to make their choices. They need to decide who will lead us, at any level. Now, what I've discovered as a pattern is one, voter intimidation, then which translates into voter apathy. And of course, we have weaponized poverty, generally speaking. And when you give people 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, or rice, or sugar, or milk, or gari, or bread, just to vote, I think this is 2026 for crying out loud. I just believe people will take those because people are hungry and they are poor. But you and I will not take 15,000 naira to vote for anybody. There must be a level of education and civic, enlightenment. People must know their rights. People must know that the power belongs to them, and they don't need to settle for 15,000 naira or a loaf of bread just because they want to vote for elections. And then, more importantly, you talked about 2027. 2027 will be a bigger deal. Osun State is just one, state in the country, and we have three contenders, major contenders in that election. Talking about the incumbent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and we also have Peter Obi. So I believe that if they believe that we need to have a country first before we can have a leader, then maybe their thinking and their approach will be very different. In Osun State, I want to appeal to the voters. Come out tomorrow and vote. Do not be intimidated. Do not settle for 5,000 or 10,000 naira before you vote. And for those who were cursing that if you receive money and you not vote, excuse me, for the people that you got that money for, and that you will be cursed, I think that should be, that's totally unacceptable. Come out and vote. No fear, no intimidation. And please exercise your franchise to vote. That will be my appeal. The issues of violence, intimidation, whether for this election or any other election in Nigeria, especially the elections in January, general elections, please, Nigerians, just come out and vote at any point in time. But for those who have to play their roles, whether it is INEC or the security agencies, please, I want to also appeal. What we need is free, transparent, credible elections in this country, not killing people because you want to grab power.
It's a very dicey situation, and one that I know that this election was going to be contentious because of the past and things that have happened in the state and the political actors and the drama that we've watched unfold over the years. And the deployment of security agencies to Osun State is supposed to create some kind of confidence in the voters, so they can actually come out and exercise their franchise, even though you have advised the voters to come out. The fear is on purpose. I think we need to let our Nigerian people understand that fear is contrived. The idea is for you not to want to come and exercise your franchise. That way all kinds of things can happen in the dark. But let me get your thoughts on going forward, future elections in the country. How do we clear up this space, Mr. Braimah? How do we make this thing healthy again? Because it's so toxic.
Lots of money. People are desperate.
Is it possible to clear it up? Is it possible to clean it up?
It is possible, but the job belongs to all of us, to all Nigerians, not only the politicians. We must refuse to be intimidated, to be bullied. We must refuse to be accepting. Voters must refuse to accept to be weaponized because of the poverty. Some of them are facing. So talking about clearing, the space up. That is very important. And I said the critical stakeholders, INEC, the security agencies, the voters, even the media, and civil society. We need to come together in a mix to ensure that we hold credible elections. It's not only INEC. Now, sometimes logistic problems are created. Imagine adding SDP to the ballot at the very last minute. That created logistical challenges for INEC. And materials for tomorrow's elections arrived late yesterday in Osun State. So that was totally unnecessary. So the courts too are also a critical stakeholder in this whole process. So if we all are serious about deepening our democratic culture and respecting the votes of Nigerians so that our votes will count, then we can clear the space. Everybody has a role to play. But the politicians themselves, they are too desperate because there is no accountability of any kind when they are in office. You know, the money at the center, whether at the local government level, state level, of the federal government, there's too much money to be shared. Too much money to be shared. There's so much budget, to make them want to be so desperate to get into power. So that is the bigger problem. When there is accountability, if Nigerians can hold these politicians or public officers to account and make sure that they respect the true wishes of Nigerians, they will not be this desperate. They are desperate because they know when they get there and do whatever they like, nothing will happen. Usually there are no consequences. People are threatening voters, threatening party members, people threatening INEC officials with death, and nothing is happening to them. When they should be in jail by now. They should be in detention as it were. And I'm so very hard, on the senator from Osun State, who said what he said. It was reckless, it was provocative. And I don't know why we're having two sets of rules or laws in Nigeria. That is the starting place now for if we want to clear the space.
I mean, my name is Kayla, but okay.
Sorry about that.
I know, but like we said earlier, we're listening to Mr. Antonio Ojukwu yesterday, where he talks about, the fact that from a local, so we see it on two sides. From the Amnesty International side, and they say, oh, look, we're doing this in the 150 countries where we are located. We're going to send Senator Fadausi's name there so that we can, get some kind of repercussion for the things that he said, if it does come out that he actually said those things. So that's on one side. But on the local side, we saw the head of the National Human Rights Commission yesterday, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, saying, listen, we have petitioned the NSA, the police, everyone has been petitioned on this particular matter, seeking for justice. And the idea, like we've been talking about, is how to rein in political rhetoric when elections are around the corner, when they are happening. But I want to get your thoughts on something else. It was something I mentioned before. Before every election in Nigeria, the parties involved, the stakeholders, everyone, traditional rulers, everybody comes together and signs something called a peace accord. Over the years, we have seen people break peace accords with no consequence. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think we should, maybe there should be some kind of punitive measure if you break a peace accord that was signed before the elections? And Mr. Braimah, just so we know, the elections are around the corner, just in a few hours, so we cannot call any political party's name and or anything like that right now. So in your response, maybe you can be careful about that. But do we strengthen peace accords? Do we get some kind of accountability from people who break peace accords when elections are happening in Nigeria?
Kayla, thank you. Peace accord is a piece of paper, as far as I'm concerned. The idea is good to get the buy-in of all the politicians and the parties, for a peaceful conduct of elections. That is without violence, without provocation, without the use of hate speech, as it were, without voter intimidation. But like with everything we do in this part of the world, there is usually no accountability. People still go against the spirit and letter of the peace accord and do whatever they like, and there are usually no consequences. So of course it's not supposed to be like an understanding. It doesn't have any force of law behind it. But ordinarily you would expect that the politician who signed the peace accord, will respect what they have signed. I mean, the whole idea, to be very honest, if we are ready to build a great country, a decent society, 4 pillars are very critical, Kayla. The very first one is that we must continue to defend the public interest. And I think that's what Tony Ojukwu of the National Human Rights Commission is doing, and that's what Shani Sanusi yesterday, the country director of Amnesty International, those are the kind of things they are doing. We must begin to hold people to account. That is defending the public interest. The second thing is transparency and accountability in public spending. We score 0, 0, 0 all the time there. What if you like, call it F9. The third one is upholding the rule of law. There can never be a decent society or a great country where there is no law and order. I mean, just give me an example. Okay? And finally, we must build strong institutions. If we can have these 4 pillars in place, Nigeria will be a very great country. Nigerians are wonderful people. They are great people. All over the world, Nigerians are doing great things. But the desperation for power here is because the system that we operate allows it. So the peace accord is a great idea. I welcome it. But politicians should ask themselves why they violate, the agreement that they entered into, with the idea itself. So I still want to appeal again that voters should come out tomorrow. They should not be intimidated. The Nigerian police has assured us, Mr. President has assured us, those are very good statements, confidence building statements. But there's still fear, because a lot of people have died. I am personally worried. Osun State now is like a theater of war, and the killing field, because we want to produce a governor. I repeat, it's going to be a close contest. If you look at what happened in 2018 or 2022, so it's going to be a straight 2-horse race, basically, between the Accord Party candidate and the APC candidate. I agree.
From you, Mr. Braimah, that this peace accord business is a waste of time. That's what I'm hearing from you. It's just
that's what it is.
It's a waste of time.
But I didn't say the idea is good, but it's a bloody piece of paper because the politicians don't really care. If a politician can say kill people to win an election, and the man is still working free, he was already invited and slapped on the wrist. So what kind of country are we building? What example are we setting? What message are we sending to Nigerians and the rest of the world? The whole world is watching. We have international observers right there in Osun, the whole of Osun State. So what message are we sending to the world? That election is a do or die affair in Nigeria, that we can just grab it and run with it, or that all is fair in politics in Nigeria? No! This is not how it should be. And then we see democracy, democracy in other parts of the world, how elections are conducted. We don't shut down the space because of one election. And look at the people that have been mobilized for just one off-cycle election in Osun State. Why is it so? I repeat, this shouldn't be a do-or-die affair. And if this is a pointer to 2027, then we need to work harder than what we're saying right now.
We'll go on a short break right now. I was just calculating in my head, Mr. Braimah, 15,000. Is it 15,000 policemen per state? Is that how we're doing elections? So how many policemen do we have in Nigeria?
And how many are we going to use in 2027?
15,000 times 36. We'll do the math. When we come back from this break, we'll give you that figure. Stay with us.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. Well, Mr. Braimah, it's closing moments of the show this morning. I'm wondering, now all ACs are down, all ACs are out. Everyone is now streamlined to do one thing or the other. Now the onus, as you have said, is on the people of Osun State. But then there needs to be some confidence building. And who better to do that now, since no political party is allowed to do anything, than the National Orientation Agency and INEC itself, and maybe civil society organizations. How do you see them playing any role in this regard? Can you hear me? Oh dear. I don't know, maybe Kayla, you want to take that up?
I can.
Mr. Braimah, can you hear me? I mean, can you hear me, Mr. Braimah?
I can hear you, Kayla.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's what's going on here. All right, so we did that math before. 15,000. If we're deploying 15,000 policemen, since we're 36 states and the FCT, that means for the presidential election, we'll need 555,000 policemen. And that's just from the police.
You've done the math.
Yes, we did the math. 555,000. That's how many the IG, DSU, would have to send to police the country during an election that's supposed to be a celebration of our democracy. All right, so let me get your thoughts on something I was talking about, that the fact that the ACs are down. Everyone has their roles clearly set up. We're asking the people to come out, but like I said, we need to build confidence in the people. We need to build confidence in the people to be able to exercise their franchise in a place where 29 people have been killed and the tension is rising. I've been reading the report from Kimpact Development Initiative. Hotspots, the risk level is critical. Shogbo, Ede South. Those are the two places where they say the risk level is critical. It's high in Ede North. Please forgive me if I don't pronounce it properly. Iwo, and some other parts of the place, and then they put it in critical, high, moderate, and low. And altogether, according to Kimpact Development Initiative, 30 local government areas are going to be hot spots for this election. How do we get the people to come out when they're scared?
As far as I'm concerned, every local government, every polling unit is a hot spot and a flashpoint for our security agencies, because the tension is palpable. It is evident. All the reports leading to this election indicating that there will be violence prone. Some people will just stay at home, but those, of course, they will expect that some voters, a majority of them will still come out. I think we have about 1.9 million voters have picked up their PVCs out of slightly over 2.3 million registered voters in Osun State. So we don't expect everyone to come out. But I want to again appeal, like the president has done, that is to be expected, that they should come out. Hopefully, there will be no killings tomorrow. There will be no more deaths tomorrow. We've had enough blood already because of one elections. And the blood of these people will be on the hands of the leaders, the political leaders in Osun State. Because we don't need to spill blood because people just want to win elections. And I repeat, the elections will be very tight. It will be very close. Apart from having the highest number of votes, from the candidates to be declared winner, I think you also need to record at least 25% in quarter of the states, I think. So otherwise there will be a runoff. And for an election like this, that has a possibility of a potential of a runoff, I think. This do or die phenomenon is what is on full display. It is about serving Osun people, or the people of Nigeria, generally speaking. I have my doubts because these politicians, they get into office, and we all know what happens to their annual cycle of budget. Now that they are getting more money, I know some states that used to get like 3 to 4 billion monthly from Abuja. The fund allocation, they're now getting like ×4. And it is why Mr. President, and in fairness to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he keeps on telling the governors, stop wasting money on flyovers, make the grass greener on the other side. And it's basically saying, pay attention to the people. Let us reduce the level of poverty. Let us empower, Nigerians so that they can live better life. The quality of life has deteriorated so badly, in this country. With even more money going to the states and the local government areas. So what do they do with all these funds? We need to follow the money and be asking a lot of questions. And I think that has, a connection with this desperation, to win elections. Because they know that the money that they have to preside over, the budget they preside over, is huge every year. And for one person to make that determination, you can understand why it is a do or die affair every time.
That's the time that we have this morning. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Mr. Braimah, publisher, editor-in-chief of Niger Times. Join us via Zoom. Thanks again for being with us on the program.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Ayo.
All right.